Hello everyone, my name is Owen, and welcome to the 100 subscriber special. Honestly guys, I was never expecting it to make it to 100 subs this quickly. We only had the 50 sub special a few weeks ago, and I just wanted to let you all know that I can never find the words to thank you for all the support that you've given me over the past few weeks. In celebration of hitting this milestone, I've decided to remake the video that started it all, the puppet combo timeline theory, and I just want to give a quick shout out to 10th Basilisk 88 for finding the info needed and co-writing this video script, and to Serventos for recording the gameplay in the background. I'll have both of their links in the description below. And just before I start, I just wanted to let you know that this is just me and 10th Basilisk's theory, and if you have a better theory or any valuable info, then please feel free to tell us down in the comment section below, except you, Bubble Kitty. You are not welcome here anymore. But enough with this long ass intro, and on to the video. Just like the original, the first game in the timeline is the glass staircase. We can tell this because of the lack of technology seen within the game. People still use candles and mail letters by hand. Speaking of letters, the notes in the game are most clearly talking about a certain Edward P. Sullivan and his experiences in the First World War. Keep in mind that most of the notes found within the game were written in 1919, meaning that the game can't take place long afterwards, leaving me to believe that this game takes place in 1920, as the location we play in appears to be abandoned, and the 4 girls who reside within the building seem to be the only residents within it. The next game of the timeline is the Christmas Massacre Prologue. This one was quite easy to pinpoint. At the beginning of the game, the words Christmas 1959 pop up. It's very likely that I'm wrong about this one, but I've decided to put Texas Butcher in the middle of the Christmas Massacre Prologue and Christmas Massacre main game in the timeline, as I believe it takes place in between the 20-year flash forward. Night Watch was also quite easy to pinpoint. On Jim's computer, we get a notification for a flood warning, and the date says June 18th, 1978. Babysitter Bloodbath is the next game in the timeline. We know this thanks to the VHS tapes seen within the game, which were invented in 1977, meaning this game cannot take place before that date, but it also can't take place after 1979, you'll see why in a second, leaving me to believe that it takes place around mid-1979. The next piece of evidence making me believe Babysitter takes place in 1979 resides in another game. We will take a look at this game shortly. At the beginning of Christmas Massacre's main game, the words 20 years later pop up, and if you know math and didn't fail school, like myself probably, 1979 is 20 years later than 1959, which is when the prologue to Christmas Massacre takes place. Thanks to the theory of Billy Johnson being Billy from Feed Me Billy, we know that he was sent to the nunnery by his parents, meaning he couldn't have arrived long before Larry burns down the nunnery in his game. If you want to know more about Babysitter Bloodbath and Feed Me Billy's connections, then click the link in the description below, where I go into more detail, or the iCard in the top of the corner, once you finish watching this video. The next game in the timeline is Nun Massacre. Thanks to the ending of Christmas Massacre, we know that Larry burned everyone at the nunnery to death, including Billy and the nun, explaining why the school looks so run down in the game. We can use this evidence from the Christmas Massacre game to know that Janie and Billy most likely arrived at the nunnery around the same time, and due to the condition of the nunnery when Miss McDonald arrives, it means that the Nun Massacre must take place a while after Christmas Massacre, most likely set around the year 1981. Moving on to one of the best and most popular puppet combo games, we have Nightripper. I believe that Nightripper takes place in the year 1989 due to the whack job DJ on the radio that was simping for the Nightripper saying so. Due to reusing assets from the Nightripper and Riverside incident, I'm also certain that Meat Cleaver Mutilator takes place around the same time as Nightripper. Here's another easy one. At the beginning of Blood Maniac, the words Thanksgiving 1984 pop up, showing us that it is, well, set in 1984. The next easy one, yet again, is in Murder House's Prologue. When you're done taking a picture with the non-sea Easter Bunny, the photo pops up in the corner of the screen that says Easter 1985. In Power Drill Massacre, once you enter the Driller Killer's lair, you can find a missing poster. Once examining it further, you can see the date 1987 being on it. The same date can be found on some newspaper clippings as well, found within the Driller Killer's lair, showing that Power Drill Massacre most likely takes place in 1987. Upon starting Murder House's main game, the text present day 1988 will pop up on the screen. Well, that was another easy one. At the beginning of Stay Out of the House's prologue, the words 9 days later pop up, meaning that night shift takes place 9 days before Brendan and Roxanne are kidnapped. Speaking of stay out of the house, based on Brendan's driver's license, which expires in 1993, I was able to determine that Soothe takes place no earlier than 1989, because a newly renewed driver's license in Oklahoma, where Soothe is presumably set, expires 4 years after it is renewed. We know it's an Oklahoma driver's license as it says so on, well, the driver's license. There wasn't much to go off of in Feed Me Billy, but based on the phone call that Billy has with the father, the CFV's supposed leader, who sounds exactly like he does in Soothe, makes me believe that it takes place in the same year. I know that's a pretty weak point, but it's all I've got. We know that the tape we played through in the Riverside incident was recorded in 1989, due to it saying on the corner of the screen. This tape was also found and recovered in the year 1991. Now you may be thinking, Owen, how would Spiders take place in 1989? It obviously takes place in the far future. Well, let me explain. If the game took place in the far future, then how would the Nightripper and Power Drill Massacre posters appear in the bedroom? Also, all of the other VHS tapes that appear in Scary Tales Volume 1 supposedly take place in 1989? Coincidence? I think not. But based on what we do know, that would only make sense for it to take place in 1989. Speaking of Scary Tales Volume 1, while there isn't a lot of evidence, I believe that it takes place in 1993, as it appears that it was inspired by the Scary Tales movie, which was also released in 1993. We know Buzzsaw Bloodhouse takes place in 1997, based on the date that can be seen in the live stream in the top corner alongside all the fat neckbeards being creepy as fuck. I could be completely wrong about this one, but I believe that Evil Clowns takes place in the year 1998, because of its inspiration from Carnival, which was also released in 1998. This part may sound like a stretch, but in an early preview of the game Day 7, a poster of the film Enemy could be seen. Enemy was released in the year 2013, and we all know that movie posters and advertisements don't long last after the movie is released, meaning that this game has to take place either before the movie was released or not long after it was released, making me believe that it takes place in 2013. And finally, the end of the timeline. While it's unknown when Planet of the Bloodthirsty Santa takes place, it's pretty obvious that it takes place in the far future due to the advancements in technology, including ray gun, and obviously the ability to land and travel on other planets. Anyways, that's the end of the timeline so far. Thanks for watching, liking, and subscribing. It really does mean a lot to me. Also, only 10.1% of you guys are subscribed. If you're feeling generous, maybe consider subscribing today. And as an added bonus, men watching this, you will gain 2 inches if you do. I'm just saying, it seems like a good deal to me. And if you're a whammon, honestly, I don't fucking know. But I'm sure something good will happen to you. And also, could you like the video? It really makes the algorithm hate me less. And it only takes a few seconds. Thanks. By the way, are there any other topics or games I should cover next? Leave your suggestions down in the comments below. Anyways, my name is Owen, I've been your host for today, and I will see you in the next one. Goodbye.